Hi, this is gonna sound kind of weird, but I'm from the future. It is the year 2050 right now, and I'm on my way to work, so I wanted to make this video for you while the car drives. I work as an engineer at 49 years old, and there are a few things I've learned over the years that I would like to give you advice on. I chose 4 things that I remember from 2016 that were a big part of my life: humanities, STEM, digital media, and cheer. Starting with humanities, I will always remember doing annotations at 4 in the morning because it took so dang long. I still have this old book we annotated, and I guess you're annotating it now, but if you can see my annotations, I've realized why the teacher made me do this. Annotating helped me comprehend and understand what's going on in the book instead of just reading the words and not understanding what's going on. Going back into the text and seeing all my annotations helped me know where in the book I was and always helped me understand what was going on. I advise you to continue to understand and take notes on what you're reading because now you're an engineer and you're going to have to work with contracts, and you need to understand what they're saying or you can end up signing a very bad deal. Speaking of deals, that takes a lot of communication skill, which I'm okay with, but when it's my responsibility to make big announcements to my staff, that's when the nerves kick in. I remember we used to do these things called paideas, which you probably know of, and it is always the only thing that got me bad grades. I've always been very shy and quiet, and the younger I was, the worse it was. I remember never talking unless I absolutely had to, and when I was required to, it was not very fun. My anxiety would get so bad I would start shaking and my heart felt like it was beating out of my chest. Now though, I'm not so bad. I still get nervous, but I no longer feel like I'm going to pass out. Keep working at this because you need a voice to be able to supervise your workers and keep them on track. Okay, so the second topic I'm going to give you some advice on is STEM. I enjoyed this class for the most part, and I hope you do too. But this is the first time I've ever written a lab report, and it wasn't actually as hard as I thought it was going to be. Anyway, there was like attached to my lab reports, and it was, if I knew what I was doing, then I could write paragraphs and paragraphs of and explaining what I was doing. It was really hard for me to explain everything in a few sentences when we were allowed to only write 1 or 2 sentences. And I realize now writing and analyzing is something you will need in the future to make sure you know what your client wants. So this is good to practice in high school. One thing you'll definitely need being an engineer is math skills, and I could never combine math and science for some reason. For example, we did this thing called Newton's second law experiment, and I had trouble finding the force in my experiment. I have it here. That was all my calculations and things, and it took me a while to get that. I'm good at math, but applying it to science is what I struggle on because science deals with different units of measurement, and I could never understand that and combine it with like math measurements. You really need to work on this because you may not work with science specifically, but you need to understand all kinds of math and calculations, even if you don't use that specific kind. Being an engineer requires this. Moving on, I don't have a lot of time here. Digital media. This class was not what I expected it to be. The first thing we did was create these things called cyanotypes, and they were actually really cool and I enjoyed creating them. This is our test cyanotype, and I actually think it's really cool. I love hands-on art, but it was more of a hobby than a necessity. But it was always enjoyable, and this specific project taught me a bit about the history and how photographs have evolved. Art is something I still love, and I hope you continue to use it as a stress reliever from school and drama. What I was not expecting to do in digital media was write. Writing has never been my strong suit, especially when I'm not super interested in the topic I'm writing about. At this time, I had to write about teen pregnancy, and I struggled quite a bit on it. This is my final product. I kept it to show how I've grown since then. You need to work on this because writing is something that you will need to know how to do for the rest of your life. Not everything you write about will be very interesting to you, but without this skill, you will go nowhere in life. I'm positive your college essays will be no fun, but it's what got you here, so try your best. Finally, cheer. The one thing that caused me the most drama, but it was also the most enjoyable thing in my life. Here is a video of me back in the day, and it shows me falling during a stunt, but instead of letting this bring me down, I drove myself to get back up and keep going. This mindset gives you something to strive for, and that's something you should always do. Always strive to be better because it is the only way you will get to be successful in the world now. I'm about 2 minutes away from my work now, so I want to answer some questions you might be asking. The reason I'm making this video at this specific time is because I'll be retiring to become a stay-at-home mom for my son and an incoming daughter. So before I leave the workforce to spend my days at home, I thought it would be fun to just reflect on my life so far, to give whatever advice I could, and I hope this really helps you.